But let's begin with the Alberta Privacy Commissioner. She is raising concerns about that province's proposed changes to driver's licenses. The change would involve noting on those IDs whether someone is a Canadian citizen. So as you can see, it would involve adding CAN to the top right-hand corner of the license. Premier Danielle Smith made the announcement on Monday. However, the Commissioner, Diane McLeod, said her office wasn't made aware of the initiative beforehand. Diane McLeod is the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Alberta, and she joins us from Edmonton. Commissioner, what's your concern about Alberta driver's licenses revealing whether or not someone's a citizen of Canada?
Well, I think the issue is the place in which the information is located. It is located on a piece of identification document that is used for many things, including getting into liquor stores, at bars, and other forms of identification. And it's unclear to me why we need to have citizenship information on that kind of identification and what purpose it's actually going to serve.
Yeah, I think a lot of people outside of Alberta have been wondering that as well in these provinces where we don't have that on our driver's licenses. I'm sure you've heard the Premier say she has concerns about electoral fraud and that this may make it, clear that up. Concern about accessing certain public services. Have you seen any evidence that these are problems that needed to be addressed this way?
Normally when government goes ahead with these kinds of initiatives, they generally contact my office and have a conversation about what they're planning to do and give me some information about, why they're planning on doing what they're doing. In this case, unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I'm not entirely sure why. So I don't have the rationale as to what it is they're trying to solve with this particular addition of information on a driver's license. So without understanding that, it puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. However, looking at it from a privacy rights advocacy side of the equation, I do have significant concerns with why it's there. And even if it is there to solve some sort of service provider problem, I think it's important that it be understood that the privacy risks associated with having that kind of information on a driver's license likely outweigh what it's being used for. So, I did hear that there was some need to prove citizenship. For example, you indicated electoral reform. Well, why is it not sufficient to have people bring their passport? So I guess I'm trying to understand a little bit about what government thinking is here, and I don't understand the rationale for it. At the end of the day, they cannot collect this information, which is what they would do if they added it to a driver's license, without complying with our new Protection of Privacy Act. So they will need to ensure that they have that authority to include that information on the driver's license. And in order to do that, they really have to run past me a privacy impact assessment.
Yeah, so let's dig into that for a moment. So they have a requirement under the Act to do what exactly before they can go ahead and do this?
Well, first of all, they have to have authority to collect the information. They did indicate in news reports that they were planning on developing a regulation that would permit the collection of this information and the addition of that information on a driver's license. So under our Protection of Privacy Act, they would be able to collect information if permitted by law. However, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So you need to assess what the privacy risks are of adding this kind of information to a driver's license that's used in many different places against the benefits that it will achieve in services delivery. So I would suggest that, there may be more privacy risks than benefits. But again, having not seen the policy rationale behind this, I cannot say that for sure.
We have just a minute left. Let's finish with this. I'll bet you that there are people watching right now, including in Alberta, who are saying, I'm a citizen of Canada. I'm proud to have that on my license. Why does this issue even matter to me? What would you say to them?
Well, I think it's good to be a proud Canadian. However, there are people from other countries that may be discriminated against if their citizenship appears on the driver's license. I mean, you can't know what's going to happen in a particular context and how individuals may be treated. In addition, this is just another piece of information that could be used if your driver's license is lost or compromised, for example, to commit identity theft or identity fraud. So it creates additional privacy risks on that front as well.
All right, Diane McLeod, thank you very much.